You're not cooking.
Yeah, dude.
How do you like yours, Clark?
Oh, medium rare, a little pink inside.
No, you're bun.
Beer's cold, and there's plenty of shrimps on the barbie.
These are medium rare.
What if somebody wants theirs well done?
We ask them politely yet firmly to leave.
My God, did that smell good.
This thing rules. The thing rules.
Oh, hey, what's up? I'm Brian Altano.
And I'm Max Scoville.
This is a show where we discuss something we love,
Unpack why we love it,
explain where it came from,
try to remember our first impressions of it,
share our weird stories about it,
maybe learn something new about it along the way.
but first and foremost, we're here to celebrate the fact that this thing rules.
All right, time to throw a shrimp on the Barbie, which is
It's
short
almost-
for barbecue.
It's almost fall, time to fire up the grill.
Yeah.
No, man, I love grilling so much, and it's one of those things where I've lived in California for 16 years, and I've been able to grill for 4 or 5 of those years. And before that, I would want to grill, and I would get like Bon Appetit magazine and shit like that. And every summer they'd be like, it's grilling season. And I'd be like, it's not though, because I live in a 1-bedroom apartment, but let me try anyway. And so I did all this shit where like I figured out grill marinades, and I bought like indoor, not like George Foreman grill shit, but like stuff that's like, oh, this is a cast iron pan that can make grill marks, right? So you're not cooking on propane, you're not cooking on hot coals or wood chips or anything like that. You're just doing it on your stove in a small apartment that's part of a building that you share with like a bunch of other people. So my wife, who just very much enjoys my cooking and also just humors when I fall down a rabbit hole, like I get back from Germany and I'm like, I got to make doner kebab from scratch. And she's like, all right, man, whatever, I'll eat it. Or I'm like, I'm going to spend 5 years, perfecting pizzas. Like, okay, cool. One day I was like, I'm going to figure out how to grill in this apartment. And I bought this like cast iron grill pan that had like the raised marks on it and everything, right? And I made steak and chicken and shrimp and zucchini, and I had them all. I did like my go-to marinade is always just kind of like a olive oil balsamic, or like a neutral sort of avocado oil balsamic, oregano, red pepper, salt, and pepper, right? Maybe a little garlic powder too, whatever you want to do. You could throw some fresh herbs in there as well. Marinate all that for a little bit, throw it all on the grill, and immediately fire alarm starts going off inside my apartment. And then the fire alarm starts going off inside the building. And so the entire fucking building, this is like a 4-story building with like 15 units on each floor, maybe more, empties out onto the street, and the fire department has to show up. And we're all just kind of like, they're like, man, I wonder what happened. And somebody's like, I wonder if it's like a drill. And someone else is like, they don't do drills in buildings for grownups. Like either there's fires or there's no fires. Maybe they do them at your office, but like at a residential apartment complex, they don't just go like, all right, guys, just seeing if you're on your
I feel
toes.
like that's the grown-up equivalent of calling the teacher mom. Like you just showed your whole ass. That's like asking your boss when's recess. Like what?
Yeah,
There's
and we're all
fire drills in apartment buildings.
we're all just standing around, and everyone's just like, man, who, like, what? So what happened? Maybe somebody was smoking a cigarette, and I was like, yeah, it's gotta be that. Gotta be one of those
no good smokers. Can't
gotta be one of
stand
those
them.
cigarette guys. Yeah. So I basically had to put that hobby on pause
On the
and
back
then-
burner?
Yeah, on the back burner.
So wait, hold on. I
instead of the
want
front
to
burner.
back this up. So what constitutes grilling? Is grilling by default like is it the thing, the surface you're cooking on, or is it the location you're cooking, or is it the
I always considered it like an open flame outdoors, right? Which like you could get loosey goosey, like you could get. I've seen people who get those like butane wok high heat burners, right? That are portable, and you can bring it out in the yard and blast that thing with like 600 degrees and do like high heat wok cooking. I don't know if that's necessarily grilling, but if somebody was like put all that together and they were making, like.
Well, no, I don't think that's grilling at all. If you've got like a wok, that doesn't count. That's
I'm
a
just saying
different thing.
if I was at a party and some guy's making fried rice and some like 600 degree outdoor wok, he'd be like, if he was like, do you think this is grilling? I'd be like, Sure, whatever you say, sir. Like you went through this effort to do whatever. Like I think it's there's smoking and then there's cooking outdoors and stuff like that. But then there's grilling. Like, and I also don't think that, I think with grilling, it's like you specifically are making grill marks on something, right?
Right.
Like it's not, because if like you put a hot dog on a stick and cook it over a campfire, is that grilling?
Yeah, I was gonna say like roasting marshmallows is not grilling. It's making food outside, but that doesn't.
Yeah,
that's
it
not the
doesn't
same
count.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it has to be like a specific, like a grill, right?
If you cook an egg on the sidewalk, is that grilling?
I think if you cooked an egg on a sewer grate in like Arizona on a day where it hits 117,
You would get food poisoning.
You would get food poisoning for sure. Actually, maybe that level of heat would clean off the sewer grate. I think that would technically count as grilling, right?
That feels like some shit that Ninja Turtles would do, is take a sewer grate and then use it as like a pizza pan.
What was it, like one of the Hot Shots movies where like there's like a parody sex scene and Charlie Sheen like cracks an egg on a woman and it fries? And
Yeah.
I remember seeing that as a kid and being like, could you do that? Like, if can a woman be so sizzling hot?
I hate that I know this. I don't know why that scene is like burned into my brain, sizzled and seared into my brain, really. But like that's from the first Hot Shots. I love the second one where he's basically Rambo and he's shooting chickens at people, which is, I didn't realize at the time was a spoof of like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, a movie we're talking about 2 weeks in a row here. But the first one was mostly a Top Gun spoof, but then that part was specifically a parody of not Basic Instinct, 9.5 Weeks, when Mickey Rourke is just like putting food all over Kim Basinger. They're like eating bananas all silly and doing whipped cream stuff, and it's I forgot about that. And again, I didn't get the sex part of it. I didn't get the pop culture part of it. I didn't get the scientific culinary aspect of it when I was 7 or 8 or whenever I first saw that movie. I do remember my mom kind of being like, we should maybe fast forward this part, or try to cover my eyes. And I'm like, why is that woman? Why is he cooking things on her? What is happening?
That's like such a. We're totally off topic here, but that is such a funny element of like the parody film, is that it would let you sort of like learn about a bunch of different movies that you weren't allowed to see, filtered through like some slapstick parody version of it. Like I was just reading about like Marlon Wayans is like, we're making a new scary movie, and here's some of the movies that I want to do, and it's like, I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream, and it's like, cool, everybody knows those franchises, and he's like, Heretic, and I was like, oh, the Hugh Grant movie that's like it's like a neon film, I think, and it's like two people show up to his house, and like he's got like a blueberry pie candle going. It's like, I saw that in theaters, but did enough people see that it's worth throwing in there? I don't know, maybe not. We'll give it a shot. I'm down for whatever. Bring back Scary Movie, have fun. But
well, the thing with the spoof movies is I feel like if the gag is good enough, it doesn't matter if you know the source material. It just kind of works on its own. But anyway, grilling. Did you grill at all growing up, or like was that a thing your mom or dad did or anything?
Yes, and so like one of the big things, we had a grill in our backyard, and my dad at one point, which is like, it's crazy because he's not. I've mentioned this before on the show. Like he's not a very good cook, just wasn't. Like he grew up in that sort of like 1950s 1960s Americana where like his father would call from the bar like an hour before showing up and being like, hey honey, put a frozen steak in the oven, right? Like shit like that. They grew up during like TV dinners, and he lived in an apartment building in Jersey City, New Jersey, so they might have had a shitty little grill in the backyard, but I don't think he was like, he didn't really ever really have to learn how to cook. It was a lot of like, you put a frozen meal in the oven, or you open up a can of something. And so eventually, like, my mom went back to school to get her master's in architecture, and my dad was like, shit, I got to cook dinner every night. And that turned into him being like, all right, well, like, what are we going to make? And he started off making stuff like Sloppy Joes and what he called Cheez-It chicken, which is just like, you just get a box of Cheez-Its and crush the shit out of it and throw like raw chicken breasts into it, and then throw that into a deep fryer. And we were like, this is amazing.
I was hanging out with some friends who have a toddler, and they were talking about like stupid shit that kids say when they're really little. And I had the most bizarre deja vu because apparently their kid said cheesy chicken as like an exclamation when he was younger. And I was like, why does that sound so familiar? Yeah. And it's because you're always telling him about Cheez-It chicken.
Yeah, it was weird. And so I think eventually, I remember as kids, we had this like we had one of those shitty like and they're like, you can cook on them if you know what you're doing, but those shitty ones where you just throw a bunch of charcoal in there.
Yeah, like a Weber grill.
Yeah, just like the little dome thing, right?
Yeah, the classic Weber grill. Was it like the little one that looks like more of a BD1 than an R2D2.
Yeah. It looks like a shitty little Star Wars droid, and it's got like 3 legs, and it's got the holes in the bottom with the little metal things that you twist, and then all the fucking dust falls out. And I just remember my dad being like, "Move the grill over," or like, "Grab the grill," or like, help me with this thing. And all of the ash would just be falling down all over my fucking little legs and all that. So he would go out there and he would just overcook everything constantly. Like the running joke in our house was that like he would take a loaf of bread, forget it was in the oven, and then take it out at dinner, and it would be like this, like a black sword basically. And so he would go out in the yard, and he did this like, not to throw shade on him in a podcast, but like he did this like 6 months ago. Like we were home, and my wife and I like we're good cooks. We both cook a lot. We entertain guests and stuff like that, and we love to cook. And we went to the grocery store, and he's like, "I'm gonna make steaks. You guys can handle everything else." And we're like, "Sure." So I went to the grocery store. I get all these fresh vegetables, stuff for salad. We make like a vinaigrette from scratch, and I'm sauteing all these vegetables and chopping onions and all this stuff. And we made this like all these amazing side dishes. And he comes out with just these like hockey pucks. And we're like, "Well, all right. Well, the main course is like the one thing that we didn't have any say on." So I think that like one of the other things, it was just like, it took me a long time to get into grilling because I didn't think it was good. Like I think most dads in the 80s and 90s were just like, they were like my dad. They never cooked. And when they did, it was on the grill. And when they cooked on the grill, it was more just like stand there with a beer and flip the thing. And like, you're just talking the whole time.
It's like golf with food and no walking.
Yes. Yeah. It's a social thing.
The
right?
cultural thing about grilling, like I feel like going back to caveman times, it's like, it's not domestic cooking. It's kind of like masculine, like, "Oh, the fire is outside. We make the hamburger." And it's like, I feel like you can have the most sort of traditional, patriarchal household, and it's like mom does the cooking, but the dad is the king of the grill, and he gets the big apron. And like growing up, like I don't know, I grew up with a single mom, so we didn't have the sort of dad archetype in there, but my mom was a chef, and like typically like she would do great in the kitchen and stuff, but she also had a fondness for grilling stuff. And I think we had the same little shitty portable Weber grill. But the other thing is we didn't own a house. We moved around a lot when I was a kid. So like the other aspect of grilling is that generally if you have a good grill, it is a large thing. Like it's the size of a golf cart practically. Like it's a big fucking, it's expensive for starters, but then it's also moving it around or just finding a place for it is a whole thing. And you generally need enough real estate outdoors to safely cook. Like if you're using like a charcoal grill or I don't know, like wood chips or whatever, you can't just have it like on your porch next to the wall, whatever.
No,
you gotta have some.
I'm on the grilling subreddit, and like 1 out of every 5 posts there is a guy with like an awning that's like a foot higher than his head, and that's the whole area he has, right? And he's like, "Is this safe to grill?" And the responses are always just like, "Well, like it is until it's not. Like it is until, like, I don't know about you, but like I've gotten a lot more diligent about cleaning my grill regularly because it took me trial and error to learn that like if you don't do that, one day you'll put dinner out there and you'll walk inside to grab a drink or whatever, and you'll come back out and there will be like 3 feet of flames inside there. Like you get a grease fire. So because it's just like shit falls through and it lands on that big that it's a grease trap basically. And if you don't clean that off regularly, and it's nasty, it's disgusting. Like once a year you have to deep clean that shit. It'll blow the fuck up, and like you might have to throw baking soda on it and ruin it, or like hit it with a fire extinguisher, or whatever you can do. And so don't put it out there.
I had a fun run in with that because we did like a kind of family getaway thing. We stayed at this like Airbnb, and it was this like nice like old retired couples like summer house whatever, and they got like an N64 in the guest room and stuff like that, where you're like, oh, this is totally like someone else's house that we're staying in, weird, whatever. And they had like a big ass grill, and I was like, I can kind of figure out how to use this. And yeah, same deal happened where it's like I was familiar with the form factor, but I was not aware of exactly how much shit there was inside there or how diligent they were about cleaning it. And I went out there and there was just like a comical fire coming out of that, like just the biggest thing. And we're out in like the woods, so there's just dry pine needles everywhere, and I'm just like, what do I do? I don't know how to do here. And everyone's like, how's dinner coming? Is it ready soon? And I'm like, help me.
That's so scary. Yeah. It's so fucking scary. So yeah, that is the thing to be mindful of. Like there's a level of danger to it that I think you don't get on the same way indoors. And granted, there are people that they have lit pasta water on fire, right? Like, so it's like, your mileage may vary, right? You can definitely start a fire in your kitchen, but I think that if you're cooking on like 500, 600 degrees on open flames in your backyard in a big heaping metal box full of grease, things can happen, right? Things can happen bad. And the first time that happened to me was like, we moved during the pandemic. We moved from like a small apartment in San Francisco where I could never have a grill, to a rental house in San Rafael where the weather was like regularly really nice. And they had this gorgeous yard that was very private, but they also had this little side area that had just like some bricks on the side, but it was about 2.5 feet from the house. And so I put the grill, I went and bought like a Weber Spirit 550 or whatever, right? Whatever was like the thing to do at the time. And I was all proud of myself because I was like, I like spent weeks like trying to find a good deal on it. And like, I was like, I want the one with the side burner that I'll never use. And, the doors that can store stuff inside that just basically collect spiders. I didn't know, right? And I get this thing and I oil the grates and season them and all that. And I grilled on that thing for like a year straight. And one day I went inside while there was a bunch of chicken thighs out there, and the chicken thighs were dripping down and hit what they call like the flavor bars, which is really weird. Do you know about that?
Those triangle things?
Those triangle things are called flavor bars. Yeah.
I hate that. That's stupid.
It's such a stupid name. Because they're nasty, and like I hadn't ever deep cleaned my grill, and all this stuff starts dripping through and then bursts into flames, and I just look out and like on the side of a house I don't own, there is a 4-foot tall fire, and I'm like, we're all gonna die. I'm like, this house is gonna burn down. It's gonna be the end of my life as I know it. And luckily that wasn't the case, but dinner was ruined. But since then, I've just been diligent about it. And the other thing I learned is that it is not just it's not like grilling is not just a binary, like, food is cold, food is hot. Like the thing I learned about and got really good at is zone cooking, right? And that's where there's 5 burners and you turn on 3 of them and 2 of them you keep off, and that side you put your chicken thighs there for like a half an hour and you flip them every now and then, and they basically like, not necessarily like reverse sear, but like they come to a not acceptable temperature to eat, but they start hitting around the 100, right? And you need it to be around like 145, 155 before you take it off to let it cool. 165 is like the optimal, like you definitely won't get food poisoning, but you can get a little risky. And then from there, you bring them over to the high heat and you do a little on each side to actually give them some texture and some char. And I learned that the hard way because I thought you just marinate shit, or some people don't even do that. They just season it right on the grill. And then you cook it and you flip it and you cook it. And it just like, something would always be like, this is off. This is like chewy. This is dense. This doesn't have the flavor I want it. And so now it's like a whole thing where it's like, I know what I want to do with my marinades, which are usually something with like harissa or, the aforementioned balsamic and olive oil, or you do like a yogurt or even like a mayonnaise with some other stuff. And it just creates this like really nice texture to it and a really good flavor. And it took me, like it's trial and error. It took me forever to get that down. And as much as I love grilling, like steaks are still kind of scary to me because like, first of all, I don't buy them a lot because they're really expensive now. And my wife's like whatever on them. And my kid is sort of just like, why are you feeding? I'm 7. Why are you giving me a steak? And so like the idea of going to the store and spending a bunch of money on them and then throwing them on there and fucking them up is just it's not something I want to do.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Like, I feel like with a steak, you kind of want to have a little more control over it. And some of the fun of grilling is having some chaos there.
Yeah.
And I mean, chicken thighs are great because it's, you can overcook them, but if you overcook them, they're generally like extra charred, or you burn down your neighbor's house. It's like they're fairly forgiving in terms of how chewy they're gonna get. Chicken breast, not so much. I'm not wild about those things,
yeah.
But like, yeah, my go-to grill thing, like and it's fun because it's like basically a really easy throw together meal where I do harissa, yogurt, a little bit of lemon, salt, pepper, and marinate the chicken in that. But I use boneless chicken thighs, and I cut it up so it's like skewer size basically.
Right.
And then I will put that on skewers with pieces of onion in between. So it gives some flavor that way. And then I'll do the aforementioned basically balsamic olive oil and then salt and pepper on some zucchini. Put those on different skewers, and then I'll take the Instant Pot and do just rice with saffron, turmeric, like cumin, salt and pepper, stuff maybe like half an onion in there.
Get like a little Mediterranean thing going.
Yeah, it's a fun. It's like one of my favorite things to make, and it's shockingly easy. Like it's cheap as
healthy.
hell.
Yeah,
and it's healthy. Yeah,
yeah, it's healthy.
It's
cheap.
Go a little crazy. Get some tzatziki in there, but yeah, it's I don't know. It's a nice
Did I tell
time.
you that harissa I brought back from Germany is like far and away the spiciest thing I've ever gotten at that country? Huh. Every year, you and I go to this like little grocery store in Cologne, and we just bring back like fun nonsense for our families. And I got this like, they have like a Nutella alternative that isn't made with like the hands of children who chop palm oil or whatever. And that was really good. But I got this like random tube of harissa, and like it's fucking like knock you on your ass spicy. And I was like, is this where they hide all of the spicy shit in this country, is in this one tube? But no, that's a really good go-to. I love doing that a lot. I got into like I was saying, when we got back from Germany one year, I was like, I want to make doner kebab. And the way to do that in a restaurant is it's like this 3-foot tall meat bucket, and it rotates. And I didn't have a means to do that, but I did get like this pan that has like, it's like a vertical thing on it, and you can build all your ground meat. And it's basically just like, beef and lamb and maybe bacon in like a food processor or a Vitamix if you want to make your Vitamix gross. And then you pile them up in this big thing, and you add a bunch of seasoning and stuff like that. And then you cook it. But I didn't have a way to rotate it, so I would just go out there like every 15 minutes and just turn it around. And I had it out there for a few hours, and I was just like slicing it off, and it came out really good. It's like it's like a B+ version of something that, I could go to a kebab place near me and get for $20. But it was nice to try. I've always wanted to do one of those things where you get the like the rotating, you know what I'm talking about? They have those like horizontal. Yeah, it's like a horizontal spit, and you can put a bunch of like chickens on there or like a pig, and just put that on your grill.
Yeah, Kowakian lizard monkeys, just get the whole. Yeah, there's something really really tempting about that, and it's like I don't particularly know what I'd even want to cook. I know people do like pig roast sometimes. That just seems like an excessive amount of work, but there is something really appealing about just having a thing slowly rotating over a fire. Like you just see that in...
One of my closest friends growing up was a Greek guy, and a Greek. He wasn't just a guy; he was a kid at the time. I wasn't just friends with like some old Greek guy.
You're just digging yourself deeper, man. I don't know what's going on there.
And he would have for like the whole neighborhood and everybody, friends and families, he would have like these pig roasts, and like again, not grilling, but they would get a bunch of coals and build a fire, and they would all chip in. We'd all chip in and get this big ass pig, and it was fucking awesome. They would put it on this big stick, and they'd rotate it, and every couple hours they'd cut some pieces off, and at like 2 a.m. drunk, somebody would always be like, dare me to eat the eyeball, It was great. So I love that. But I do love the sort of, I love the getting outside part of it. You and I both work computer desk jobs, and we also both work from home these days. And so it's like, it's tough. It's tough sort of like breaking away from that and like finding some sort of change of scenery. Like sometimes I'll write a script on my laptop in my kitchen, and then I'll close my laptop and I'll walk 5 feet over and I'll turn on my burners and I'll make dinner. Yeah. And you're kind of just like, didn't really get a big change of scenery here. And then now, I have, put a lot of work into our little yard, and I'll go out there and just like it's facing the corner of the yard, and I have a smoker, I have a pizza oven, I have a grill, and I bought this like this like outdoor prep table so I can do all sorts of like chopping and prep and serving out there. And then we have a kitchen table outside too. So I can basically do everything out there. I'll bring everything out there, and I'll just be like, hey, I've been locked inside of a studio all day, or like face down in a laptop, and now it's like 5:30 and I'm outside in the yard, and I'm looking at clouds and palm trees, and birds are flying by and stuff like that. And it's fucking lovely.
Yeah, I mean, grilling, the food aspect is the primary thing, but there is that, there's that primordial, like, fire cooking, good, bruh. But also, there's an interesting social thing where I feel like it's kind of, ironically, it's kind of like smoking, where there's people who are going to hang around a grill, but like less people are prone to. Like people, I feel like if you have a barbecue or whatever, you're going to have people who are waiting for the food, but people kind of give you some space. But you'll get like 1 or 2 people who kind of hang out and shoot the shit with you, and you look like King of the Hill characters or whatever. But like, I don't know, I'm squirrely when it comes to social gatherings, and I'm frequently the guy cooking, and it's kind of nice to just have something to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. And it's nice to, again, be off, outside and enjoy that. It's great when it's hot out, which it isn't always where we are, surprisingly, but I hate when it's like, it's time for dinner. All right, what are we going to do? Oh, it's just starting to cool down outside, so let's make the inside of the house as hot as possible by making soup
oven
or
on.
whatever. Yeah, time to roast
Yeah.
a chicken indoors.
No, I love that because it's I mean we're pretty lucky here in that we get like I don't know, I'm on a text chain with my whole family who are in like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and stuff like that, and they're like regularly it's just pouring rain all through the fall, and we get a little of that, or like it's snowing or sleeting or there's like black ice on the road or something. And I was home like a year or two ago visiting my dad, and my sister-in-law got a picture of me like out on the grill holding an umbrella, and it's just torrential downpour I'm getting dumped on, and there was a power out inside the house, and my brain was like, oh, use fire outdoor. Like no light
That's
inside,
great.
cook outside. So I'm out there and I'm just like flipping stuff over, and I don't know, it was very much like, oh, I have a solution for this. We had a thing on Thanksgiving a couple years ago in that rental house I mentioned where the oven just wouldn't turn on Thanksgiving Day. And like I had all this shit prepped, and my brain was like, okay, now what? Okay, I have an air fryer. I can use the stove top. The oven doesn't work, so I can get heat from there. But why don't I just cook the turkey on the grill? And I like basically like butterflied it and put it out there, and I did the zone thing, and it took a couple of hours, but it was fucking amazing. And it was really nice to be able to be like, oh, okay, I know what to do in a situation like this. When one thing breaks my old standby, I have this thing outside. And it's like, you have the opposite happen occasionally where like your propane will run out mid-cook and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Which definitely happens here and there. And I always have like a backup one. Have you ever had that thing where like you get a propane tank refilled and you bring it home and it sits in your garage for a couple days or whatever, it sits in your yard, and you go to turn it on and you can't open it?
No.
Really? This has happened to me 3 times now. 3 different times, and I'll get like a wrench and everything like that, and it just won't open. And I remember I brought it back to Ace Hardware one day, and the guy was just like, "Says you bought this like 3 months ago." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's my spare tank. Like I have 2, so when one runs out, I have the other. And one ran out, and now I have the other, and it won't open." And he was like, "So it's just like in your garage, not being used for 3 months?" And I was like, "Yeah, like when you have a second of something." Like a spare thing, like a spare tire, like, that thing you have in your car in case one of the ones you have stops working, and then you have a backup plan. That's what this is. I was like explaining this to this guy who was like the same age as me, and I was like, how do you work? How did you get here? Like what?
So
what
follow-up
happens
question: how do you cook the food out there without burning your hands? What do? Do you just pick it up really fast, or do you like put on gloves, or what?
Say, for example, you're getting ready to go to work at Ace Hardware in the morning, and you split your pants, and all your stuff is hanging out. What do? Do you go to work, or do you have another pair of pants? Like
they got
like,
tape at Ace Hardware. We can just tape the pants. It's cool.
How are you with burgers on the grill?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
I got in a dumb fight with my wife because she was, I don't know, like the thing with burgers is they're better if they're simple. Like and that's not as much fun. Like I love to be like, I'm gonna put a bunch of silly shit in the burger meat and mix it around, and then I'm gonna smear mustard on top and cook it all funny. And she's like, Kenji Alt Lopez just says that you shouldn't even salt it until you're right before you cook it or as you're cooking it, and don't put anything on there but salt and pepper. And I was like, fuck him.
Yeah,
let me do my thing.
I love that guy, but I bet you if he was at a place that made burgers where they salted it beforehand and the burger was great, he'd be like, this is a great burger, Yeah. I think I think it's there's some things that you shouldn't play fast and loose with in terms of food, but I think with something like that, it's like not I'll put it this way, like burgers, and I've mentioned this before, but like burgers and hot dogs are kind of in a territory for me where it's like you really have to go out of your way to fuck them up. You really do. Like, whereas I feel like pizza people fuck up easily, right? I'm a lot more specific about like how those get made, but which you can make on a grill and they're fun. But yeah, with burgers, I'm kind of just like, I don't know, sometimes I'll take a cast iron and put it on the grill, which is like, is that grilling? Right? And I'll do smash burgers in that, and then I'll have like onions, like actual onions grilling in a grill pan on the side. And so I'm technically like I'm cooking over high heat, but I'm not actually getting grill marks on
That's
the
the thing is I love making smash burgers, but you can't really do that on the grill without the additional thing, which makes it feel like, again, like I could have just done this inside. But yeah,
but then you're smoking out the whole house and all that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love doing burgers. It's easy. I think that's a defining trait of grilling too, is of the ease to eat this food outside, because in addition to cooking it outside, you also got to be able to like eat it out there.
Yep.
And I mean, I know that there's people who throw steaks on there, but I think, like, you know, what tri-tip is example, because you can cut tri-tip ahead of time and people just grab it with tongs or whatever. But like taking a whole steak and putting it on a paper plate and then being like, where do I sit? You know, I'm going to cut this in my lap in an Adirondack chair. Whereas like a burger, you know, a hot dog, you just stand around and eat it. It's great. It's easy. And yeah, I don't know. Going back to the smoker thing, this is funny. I think it was last Thanksgiving. My wife got it in her head that she wanted to smoke a turkey. And in order to do so, we had to get a smoker. And I was like, you know what? She's like, you can do Thanksgiving dinner. And generally I do all the cooking, so I was just like, whatever you want to throw down, that's fine. I'll shut up and I'll be good. And so she buys this fucking smoker that has like, it's got like Bluetooth shit in it. Like it pairs with your phone. You need an app. You need to log in using an account. You have to use an email to log into the app, but you can't use more than one email login to connect to the smoker. So I had to get the password to her account and then install the app on my phone when I want to use it. I haven't messed with that thing too much, but basically she's like,
it's so annoying.
It's kind of set it and forget it. Like smoking, you put this weird stuff that looks like rabbit food in there, and then it slowly dumps that in, and then it cooks at a low temperature for a long time, like slow and low, and the food generally comes out awesome. A little smoky for my taste, but but no, so she was like, I'm gonna
a little smoke in the smoker here.
She's like,
it's like when they're like peanut M&Ms may contain peanuts, and you're like, well, who wrote that?
Who said this was okay? But no, so she was like, I'm gonna do a turkey, but we're gonna do Friendsgiving, we're gonna do Thanksgiving, and I think one of these I'm gonna do. She's like, I'm gonna do a lamb or something, or I'm gonna do salmon, or she's like, I'm gonna do other stuff. We're gonna and then before that, she's like, we're gonna have like a test run. We're gonna have like a test run where instead of doing a whole turkey, I'm just gonna smoke a chicken. And so we basically had like a test Thanksgiving, which came out great. It was awesome. And she smoked the chicken. We're like, cool, awesome, good job. And did this whole thing, put together this incredible spread. And we're all just like, okay, so it's like November like 15th, and we all feel post Thanksgiving. Like, what are we doing here? And then we did Thanksgiving proper, and then we did like Friendsgiving, which is a whole other separate feast. And at the end of that, we were all just like, we are so tired and we feel so fat. And she, you know, again, props to her. It came out amazing. She did a great job. And I was just like, well, I'm glad we have that smoker for those 3 meals. It paid for itself, question mark. I don't know. We've used it a bit here and there. I keep meaning to find something to smoke in there. But the funny thing is, last week, after all this shit, all this Bluetooth paired smoking triple Thanksgiving, you know, hat trick dinner nonsense, a couple weeks ago, I was like scrambling in the kitchen and I was like, oh, honey, can you go preheat the grill? And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, can you like turn it on? And she's like, I don't know how to do that. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Would you turn
My wife doesn't either.
Yeah, and it's this like
no,
stereotype shit.
There is some like there is some like very there are we're both fucking woke liberal leftist progressives. We have
the word you're looking for is cucks. We're huge cucks. We love cucking. We love cucking indoors, cucking outside, cucking all sorts of good stuff on that
outdoor
grill.
Cucking, smoking, cucking. we have that thing I think a lot of people don't have anymore, which is empathy, right? And we try to be understanding and forgiving and accepting of people who that don't necessarily represent us and stuff like that. But also, like, my wife does the laundry and I do the grilling. You know, like there are gender roles that we didn't talk about. We just kind of did them, right? We just kind of fell into that thing. And that if I asked her to turn on the grill, and I could go out there and show her, and she'd be like, in what scenario will I ever have to do this.
Let's say
And I
there's
was
robbers
like,
in the house, and the only place you can hide is behind the grill, and then you're going to point it at them like a weapon. That it's for defense purposes.
The wet bandits are here, and you need to devise a trap.
Well, I mean, I get it, because the grill, again, we're like talking about how all these ways it can go horribly awry. And honestly, if you think about it, turning on a grill is sort of like drawing a bath if the bath could explode and kill you.
Yeah. What's the stupidest thing you put on the grill?
Dessert pizza.
Okay.
So yeah, we talk about pizza. Pizza's a whole other episode. We're going to get to that at some point. That's the thing you know a whole lot about. You've got a whole pizza oven set up. I have a little metal, what is it called? Like a baking steel?
Yeah.
Yeah, pizza steel, whatever, pizza stone kind of thing. Which is great. It's actually not great. The grate is what I put it on. It's actually flat. It's not grated at all. But I've actually gotten really pretty good at making my own dough and throwing little pizzas on there. And my wife for her birthday party earlier this year, I was like, what do you want to do? And she's like, I don't know, let's have some people over, have some pizza or whatever. And I was like, what kind of pizza? And she's like, let's make stupid pizzas. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And she's like, let's make cheeseburger pizzas. And I was like, what are we doing? And she's like, nacho pizzas. And I was like, okay, fine, let's do this. And so I don't think recipe or devise is the right word, but I imagined toppings on pizzas of different types. And so I did I did a basic, I did a margarita with some burrata. I did, pepperoni and cheese. I did plain cheese for the kids. And then I was like, cheeseburger pizza. Honestly, it's fucking stupid, but it's kind of fun.
It works, right?
Yeah, you throw down some ketchup, some mustard. You put American cheese. The trick is to kind of like pre-cook the meat a little bit, sprinkle that on there, put some pickles, relish, that kind of thing, and it's like a cheeseburger shaped like a pizza. Stupid fucking thing. Stupid food. But whatever. Not as stupid as nacho pizza, which again, same deal, where you just you sprinkle on nacho cheese, which does bizarre arcane things when you cook it on top of dough in an oven. Again, love my wife dearly.
Does it turn into like little blocks basically? Like, does it get chunky? Doesn't it get like a skin to it?
It gets, it sort of congeals. It does. I know it's already kind of this gelatinous liquid. I don't know what it does, but yeah, again, love my wife dearly. A couple of years ago, I think we were coming back from the movies, and she's like, "Why does a movie theater nacho cheese so good? Why can't we have something like that?" And she proceeded to buy a case of it. So we're still working through that, and it's those individual plastic tub things, and they're.
Didn't Jared Petty, a friend of ours, been on a bunch of IGN stuff and Comedy Button in the past? Didn't he brought he had like a huge bucket of nacho cheese, and it was in the back. They put it on the shelf in the back of our podcast room, so it's in the back of a bunch of episodes of like Nintendo Voice Chat and beyond, like for years, and it's always grossed me out. Like it's just too much, you know?
I don't know which is more upsetting, seeing a bunch of those little pots in one place or seeing a giant vat. But either way, we used some of that on the nacho pizza, took a bunch of Doritos and just aggressively crunkled them up and put them on just like if I was angry at the Doritos and just sprinkled them on top like you're doing.
And the
some
Doritos
project.
cooked?
Yeah, they got kind of crispy on top. It was kind of fun. It was you put a little salsa on there, you put some olives, and I don't think I did guacamole. I did some sour cream. Again, this is the furthest you can get from grilling. Like making nachos is a whole other stupid venture into cooking. But I'm like, what if you got a grill and you decided to make pizza on it, but the pizza was also nachos? Like, it is the most roundabout detour ADHD approach to food you can possibly have.
Your heart's in the right place for making pizza on the grill, because it's like your most home ovens cap out at like 500, 550, and your grill can hit like 600 something.
And also, when you're cooking pizza in the oven, it makes your house that hot too. So it's a good thing to do outdoors. But yeah, then the sort of grand finale, the dessert was, I think it was like Nutella and caramel sauce and marshmallows. And I took the marshmallows and cut them with like a mandolin slicer, or tried to make them like little pepperoni shapes. And then I sprinkled M&Ms and, caramel stuff on there. And it was fun. It tasted good. But again, it looked like if three children in a trench coat were like, time to make grown-up meals. It was just a dumb idea. What's the dumbest thing you've cooked on the grill?
I mean, outside of like a whole spatchcock turkey, because I had to, there was a lot of stuff where it's like, I was reading about like foil packet grilling. Like, you aware of that? Where basically you take a bunch of stuff and you put it in a foil packet, and you can poke holes in it if you want. Like you can grill potatoes.
You
and
just
stuff
make
like
everything
that.
look like Jiffy Pop, basically.
Yes, yeah. And so I took like a bunch of carrots and I marinated them, and then I cut them into coins, and I cooked them in a foil pack on the grill, and then forgot them. And I also forgot to poke holes in it, so it just turned into this like coagulated orange brick. Like it looked like the fucking like when like the Nickelodeon logo would turn into a blimp, you know?
Oh no.
And I just opened this up and we were just I was like, did I just make baby food on the grill? Like the fuck am I supposed to do with this? And so I threw it out, of course. But no, there's a lot of those like, you know, the pioneer woman or whatever. Like she's like this, you know, multi-millionaire who will occasionally like cook on a grill, like and cosplay as like a poor person, right? And she's just like, what you got to do is, you know, if you're ever out on the open range, like, you know, me and my friends out in Montana, just, you know, down by the creek, you know, you ride your wild horses out to the mountaintop and start a fire. Take a couple of foil packets, and she was just like chopping up potatoes and stuff like that, and put them in this foil packet, and like I did it, and like it's just like the worst way to make potatoes. Like it's just it's like, I don't know, I have an air fryer. It's easier to just throw them in there. Or like I've done the thing where like you slice potatoes like you would zucchini and you cook those on the grill. That's fucking stupid too.
Yeah,
I think
it just
doesn't like there's probably a way to pull it off, and if there is, let me know. But like my experience with potatoes on the grill, despite the fact that potatoes go so well with so much stuff that it is on the grill, is that it's a fucking stupid thing to cook on a grill.
Just get
potatoes.
Potatoes are a wintertime food.
Yeah.
They belong in the hearty stews or to be mashed or baked. Don't put them on the grill. They don't want to do that.
Chop them and fry them, you know? Like, yeah.
They're like the Santa Claus of tubers. Don't get those guys out until the snow is on the ground.
It's just stupid. It's you know, it's like it's like cooking if you cut a fucking baseball in half and you're like,
that's true.
It's just stupid. So no, there's that, and I do love cooking. I've gotten really good at cooking shrimp on the grill, or on the Barbie, as they say. And that's like same sort of deal. I got those like big fat skewers. Like I think forever, again, because of my dad, I thought that the skewers you had to get were like the ones they look like a, you know, a little threaded cane or whatever, and it's just got the shitty little loop on the end that you're supposed to put your finger through and get burned. And then it's got this like spiral tiny thing. It's as thick as a toothpick. And you put shit on there and they're just fucking flipping around, and, you know, it's just turning the wrong way. And so I was just like, wait, what if I got like two of the long flat ones and did shrimp like that, two at a time, so then they never flip, right? So you have two skewers and you have a row of like 12 shrimp, and you do that a bunch of times, and you just flip those on your own with like gloves or tongs or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's how you use kebabs.
You build a shrimp ladder.
Yeah, you build a shrimp ladder.
You ever build a hot dog ladder?
I've never built a hot dog ladder.
I don't
but that's
know.
a great idea.
I think we were cooking for like a bunch of people or something, and like, this will be a smart way to do this. And I basically, again, did a similar idea where I just took a bunch of hot dogs in a row and then, you know, put skewers through the side and left a little bit of space. And it just doesn't feel right. You know, it's like so easy to flip over a hot dog and just you grab the tongs are fun. You get to go like dong, 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 you know, and like.
Well, it's also like the, when you poke holes in a hot dog and it cries, you know, it's just like, you know.
Oh yeah.
Well, the steam water starts coming out.
I know we've talked about hot dogs a lot. Have we talked about like doing those crisscross on there?
Yeah, you told me about that. Your dick cutting machine.
I bought a thing called a hot dog spiralizer. We've totally talked about this on this show, haven't we? Have we talked about hot dogs? Yes. I can't even remember. Yeah, as it's known, the Fisher-Price medieval penis prison.
Was that your Judge Reinhold weenie whistle for grilling?
I don't even use it. I just cut them with a knife. It's just easier. I don't. But again, it's a good thing to have. You know, again, in case burglars break in and you don't have anything to defend yourself with.
Harry and Marv are screaming at each other. They're like, he fucking cut my dick off. No, Marv, he didn't. It's still there. It's just funny looking. Yeah.
They should do a summer Home Alone.
That is a great idea.
Why don't they do a summer Home Alone? They could do all sorts of shit with slip and slides, barbecues.
People are a lot more likely to go on a big ass vacation in the summer, you know?
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck was like, I got to go to Paris at Christmas with 40 people?
And you can explain that you're like, the ring cam doesn't work because it's a power outage because everyone's got their AC running.
Yeah, it's too hot or whatever.
The cops don't want to check it out. They're like, it's hot. I don't want to do
it. Yeah, they should make a Summer Home Alone.
Summer Home Alone. They probably have. They made like
they
seven
kind
of them.
That's sort of what Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead is. but there's no burglars in that movie.
Yeah, they just kill a woman.
Yeah, they just kill a woman.
How did we get here?
I don't know.
All right.
I mean,
well,
yeah.
I think this episode is done. Stick a fork in it.
I think it's cooked.
Yep.
My thermometer is telling me that it's time to pull this thing out of the fire.
All right.
Well, yeah, it was good talking about grilling with you. I love to grill. If you have good grill recipes, hit us up. Let us know on patreon.com/thisthingrules, and share all your grill secrets and marinades, your favorite things to eat. I realized we didn't mention anything. I mean, outside of like cooking vegetables on there, grilling tofu is actually really good. And like, I'm not vegetarian. Obviously, I just talked about meat for an hour straight. But yeah, if you have a good way to cook tofu or Satan or whatever that shit you guys use. Seitan.
Satan? What?
You ever had grilled Satan? You don't know about Seitan?
No.
You know how you lived in the Bay Area for like fucking 20 years.
I
You know what
reject
that shit is?
Satan. I don't want that thing on my grill. No, thank you.
It's like a type of it's like a fake meat basically. They used to have it at like the cheesesteak joints and shit like that. I really don't know what I'm talking about.
I don't know. No, thank you.
No, okay.
No, we're done. We're good. I'm good.
Fine,
I'm gonna go spiralize some hot dogs. I'll see you later.
It's a plant-based meat alternative made from
made from Wu-Tang? What?
Wheat gluten. Wheat gluten.
Goodbye, Brian.
Goodbye, Max.
Before we go, just a reminder, This Thing Rules is made possible thanks to the support of our Patreon backers. If you'd like to help us keep the lights on and get some extra bonus stuff for yourself, you can go kick us a buck or two at patreon.com/thisthingrules. But really, every little comment, like, subscribe, share, or other form of engagement goes a long way. So if you've got a minute, give us a plug on social media, or go give us a nice review on iTunes, or just write something weird. I don't care. It's nice that you made the effort. And finally, a big, huge, extra special thank you to Patreon executive producers for this month: Ben Burkhalter, Anthony DePiro, Nick Vaughn, Paul Atienza, Kevin Lemasurier, Steve Cam, Caleb Hilliard, Billy McKendry, and Chip Chunkling. Thank you so much for your continued support. You rule.
Lesson 1. This is the Wagner Char King. This is the Char King Imperial.
Ugh.